So, in our last session, yung discuss natin last meeting, we explored, di ba, yung mga OD process or OD cycle of work, which includes na yung mga the end-to-end contracting phase, diagnostic phase, intervention phase, evaluation phase, and yung last part is yung termination. So, today we will be talking about in a deeper sense, yung intervention phase. So we will be focusing on the various types of OD interventions, the major interventions that is being currently used today, and also the criteria that defines effective OD interventions. So having an understanding of these topics today will help us appreciate better how critical interventions are in achieving organizational change and development. In our last discussion, we defined OD interventions are planned or structured activities being used to improve an organization's functioning through the involvement of its members. And these interventions are based on the rigorous data collected and analyzed during the diagnostic phase. So these interventions now are designed to address specific issues identified within an organization. Okay? So remember that we have discussed the definition of OD and some components of OD interventions last meeting. Okay. So ito nga yung sinasabi natin na definition ng OD. ng OD intervention rather. Okay. And in our chapter 1, we discuss or we define OD as a field na nakafocus sa improvement and the development of organizations to ensure that they are functioning effectively. So when we say OD intervention, these are range of planned activities. Okay. So there are various actions and initiatives which are carefully designed and thought out beforehand, yung word na planned activities. So, ibig sabihin, these activities are not random. So, they are strategic and aim at specific goals, which is to improve, develop your organization. So, an OD intervention, therefore, is a sequence of activities, actions, and events intended to help an organization improve its performance and effectiveness. So this plan of activities, the organization is hoping not only solve yung mga immediate problems, but also build new capabilities that could lead to sustainable growth and success over time. Okay. So before we talk about the specific OD interventions, it's important for us to have a model, okay, or a framework that we could use in determining the appropriate interventions based on the identified issue in the diagnostic phase. So we will be discussing here 3 models or interventions framework, or the interventions framework, which are the OD Cube, Blake and Moton's Consol Cube model, and Reddy's intervention cube. So these models will provide a structured framework that will help OD professionals to design and implement effective interventions. So parang itong mga model na to nagsaserve as foundation for strategic planning so that you could better understand and map out the complex dynamics of an organization. And para before ka pumunta dun sa specific intervention that you will use, kailangang makita muna natin, maintindihan natin that there are various factors at play doon sa OD issue na yan, and also determining kung anong level ba ng change ang kailangan, ano yung nature of problem, and what's the appropriate intervention method. So kapag meron tayong holistic view, it will ensure that the interventions are well planned and targeted. And aside from that, Kasi minsan merong mga kanyan merong talagang mga unique challenges ang kanya-kanyang organization. Meron silang unique needs. So by discussing first these models, yung mga OD professionals can tailor interventions to the specific circumstances of that organization. So, itong mga framework na to, itong tatlong to, na pag-uusapan natin, will identify what is the most effective type of intervention based on the diagnosed problems and desired outcomes. So with that, na-avoid natin yung concept ng one-size-fits-all approach. So medyo mahirap kasi yung ganun. Kasi meron naman kanya-kanyang circumstances, needs, and challenges ang isang organization. So if we will be considering yung mga factor na yan, you will be increasing the likelihood of success. And of course, ang importance rin nito kung bakit natin kailangang pag-aralan tong mga framework na to is to understand and utilize this model to ensure that resources are allocated efficiently. So if we were able to identify the most critical areas for intervention and the most suitable type of intervention mode, mas nabibigyan ng focus ng organization organizations can focus their time, budget, and efforts where they will have the most impact. So na-avoid yung wasteful expenditure on less effective methods or areas that are not a priority. Okay? And also, makikita natin later dito dun sa tatlong model na to na pag ginamit natin to, pwede siyang maka-enhance ng stakeholder engagement. Okay? Kasi yung discussion na nga in our previous topics, kapag mayroong support, yung mga leadership, yung management, yung mga employees, and to see that these interventions are based on well-established models and frameworks, meron tayong tinatawag na buy-in and engagement, na i-increase yan. So if we are going to discuss these models upfront, nakakatulong ito to communicate the reason behind the chosen strategies and interventions. And this will foster a sense of trust and cooperation throughout the organization. So, napaka-importante that before we proceed to specific interventions, major types of interventions, dapat meron tayong framework. Okay? So let us discuss first itong cube na to. Okay. The OD cube by Schmock and Miles na na-create nila noong 1976. So this model is useful for visualizing and planning our interventions. Okay. So meron siyang tatlong dimensions. Yun yung focus of attention, yung diagnose problems and models of intervention. Okay, so you can see in the dito sa cube na to, meron tayong focus of attention, diagnose problems, and mode of intervention. Okay. So proceed muna tayo dito sa focus of attention. So basically, in this dimension, we are asking the question, where do we need to direct our efforts? Is it at the individual level, within a team, across different groups, or the entire organizational level? Okay? So, determine natin saan ba. And then next is the diagnose problems. So what are the specific challenges we need to tackle? Are we dealing with communication breakdowns, leadership gaps, cultural issues, rule definition, decision-making, problem-solving, and the rest? Okay? And then, after that, we will be now determining the modes of intervention. So, pag na-determine natin yung diagnose problem, ano ba yung focus of attention, anong level, and we can determine the appropriate modes of intervention. So basically, we are asking the question, or we are going to answer the question, what tools and techniques will be most effective? Should we use training, coaching, team building, or structural changes? So by mapping out these dimensions, we can tailor our approach to suit the specific needs of an organization. Let's say, for example, if we identify communication as a key issue within the team, we could decide to focus our intervention or team or group level. And then we could be able to use training or team building activities as our mode of intervention. So this structured approach ensures that we are addressing the right issue with the most effective strategy. Okay? So let's say another example. For example, the diagnosed problem is decision making. Yan, ito decision making. Ito. And the focus of attention is on the team or group. Ito. So then the mode of intervention can only be either process consultation and coaching or training. Okay. But if the diagnosed problem is culture and climate, and the focus of attention is total organization, then the mode of intervention is the establishment of OD task force. Ito. Okay. So by focusing on these three specific types, yung problem issues, targeted at whom, and the mode of intervention, yung mga OD practitioners will be able to design the intervention in real time. Okay? So, yun yung the OD cube. The next framework is the Blake and Moulton's Console Cube model. So, ang framework ito is meron siyang parang the same din ng concept ng OD cube. Iba lang yung mga terms na ginamit. Kasi ang mga dimensions na dito is units of change, focal issues, and kinds of interventions. So basically determining the level of change or scale, and then ano bang approach ang pinaka-the best dyan to address the specific issue, ensuring that yung intervention natin is comprehensive and well directed. So pag makikita mo dyan, merong 5 types of intervention or kind of interventions. We have the acceptant, catalytic, confrontation, prescription, and the use of theories and principles. Okay? So pag sinasabi nating acceptant, ang approach mo dyan, so ang intervention dyan is creating a supportive and non-judgmental environment where the client will feel that they are being heard and valued. So, ang intervention or ang focus ng consultant dyan, yung OD consultant, is on building trust and rapport to facilitate the client's personal growth and self-discovery. Okay? So, mga possible na approach dito is offering emotional support and encouragement, facilitating reflection sessions, establishing trust through consistent supportive interactions, mga ganon. Then we have here naman yung catalytic. So ang role ng consultant ngayon will act as a catalyst, guiding the client to uncover relevant information and insights themselves. So, ang ginagawa dyan ng mga OD practitioners is to ask probing questions, encouraging reflection, and helping the client reframe their perspective. So, parang ganoon din, magko-conduct ka ng mga data collection and analysis workshop, conducting surveys and feedback sessions, gagamit ka ng mga questionnaires and diagnostic tools to uncover yung mga underlying issues. Pwede siguro mag-organize ka rin ng mga brainstorming sessions to encourage new perspective, and pwede ka sigurong gumawa rin ng mga problem-solving groups to generate solutions. Basta ang role ng catalytic is hindi ka magpo-provide ng solution, but you will help your client find the best solution to the issue. Then we have here confrontation. Itong approach na to involves directly challenging the client's inconsistencies or yung mga contradictions in their beliefs and behaviors. So ang consultant, ang aim niya is to raise awareness and stimulate self-reflection. Ibaga na talaga, the inconsistencies, the lacking, contradictions, kung bakit merong ganong issue. Yun naman yung confrontation. So, the consultant will facilitate tough conversations about sensitive issues. Pwede siyang gumamit ng role play, simulation to highlight conflicting behaviors, or pwede rin siyang gumamit ng mga debates or critical discussion. And the consultant might be able to provide also feedback that challenges the status quo. Then number 4, prescription or prescriptive. The consultant will take on a more directive role, providing the client with specific advice. Ibaga na talaga. And the consultant will really provide specific recommendations and solutions to solve the problem or issue ng organization na yan. Okay? So, minsan ang drawback lang nito is masyado nang nakadepend yung organization sa consultant, and tapos yung client nalilimit na yung kanyang autonomy and ability to solve the problems independently. Okay? Kasi nga, you are now, or the consultant is now giving direct instructions and guidelines for practice. Magpo-provide na rin siguro yan ng mga detailed plans and strategies for improvement. And of course, meron ng specific actions to solve identified problems. So, muna ala din yung perspective on the organization, and pwede rin siguro na maka-affect doon sa ownership, kasi hindi na nanggaling yung solution sa mga kliyente o mga empleyado who are affected with that organizational issue. Then lastly is yung paggamit ng theories and principles intervention. So ito naman is, ang approach dito is this involves teaching the client relevant behavioral science theories and models. So tuturuan mo sila ng mga concepts, principles, theories, mga models. So you would be able to equip them with knowledge and skills and even tools to understand yung kanilang situation, yung kanilang issue, and then sila mismo ngayon magde-develop ng sariling solution. So with this technique, you are empowering your clients with a deeper understanding of their problems and enhances yung kanilang ability to manage similar situations in the future. Okay? So, now, in this model, yung effective consulting often involves the combination of these approaches. Pwede kasing pag-combine yung mga yan. Pwedeng hindi naman sa isa-isa lang. No? You might combine acceptance, prescription, or catalytic and acceptance. Pwede rin theories and principles and catalytic. So, kailangan meron din tayong tinatawag na holistic approach. So, hindi lang yung one size fits all. So that this will ensure that the solutions are not just temporary fixes but addresses kung ano ba yung talagang issue and contribute to the health, improvement, and development of that organization. Let's say, for example, para mas maintindihan natin, meron tayong scenario dito. A software development team is consistently missing deadlines and producing subpar work. Upon investigation, it revealed that team members rarely communicate outside of formal meeting, and also they lack trust in each other's abilities and often work in silos, duplicating efforts and causing conflicts. So ano kaya yung possible na kwan dito? Unit of change. So since they are talking about team, ang unit of change will be group, di ba? Group teams kasi yan. We reveal the team members ay mga word na mga yon. Okay. So ang unit of change will be group. So the focus is on improving the dynamics and interactions within the software development team as a whole. And ano kaya yung focal issue? Sa apat na to, ano yung focal issue dyan? So, pag titignan mo yung scenario, it talks about lack of trust, di ba? They are often working in silos, kanya-kanya, okay? Duplicating efforts and causing conflict. So, it's basically more on the area of cohesion dito. So the core problem is the lack of cohesion within the team being manifested doon sa poor communication, lack of trust, and limited collaboration. So pag nakikita mo ngayon, group siya, tapos dito sa moral, ano kaya ang possible na intervention? So para sa akin, kapag ako mag-assess dyan, it's more of acceptant ba? Hindi rin. Catalytic, makamahirapan din sila dyan. Confrontation, baka ito, hindi rin. Prescription, I think mas better kapag gamit tayo ng theories and principles. Okay? Kasi ituturo natin yung mga, ang intervention siguro dito is team building, pero before ka mag-team building, you have to present yung mga relevant theories and principles. So, pwede siguro yung mga Taxman stage of group development, social identity theory, group dynamics theories. Pero, para mas specific, yung mga team building activities, pwede siguro gumamit kayo ng mga shared experience, communication workshop, personality assessments, shared goal setting, para sila mismo ang makarealize na importante pala, hindi maganda na patuloy na ganito ang situation natin, especially that we are in the software development team. So, ang gagamitin dito is theory and principles. And specifically, pwedeng gumamit ng team building activities. And where in fact, yung mga team building activities naman are grounded in established theories and principles from behavior sciences. So by using theories and principles on team building, yung consultant can help the software development team overcome yung kanilang cohesion issues, leading to improved communication, trust, collaboration, and ultimately better performance and productivity. Okay? So, para sa akin, mas comprehensive, empowering, and adaptable kapag theories and principles ang gagamitin natin to solve the issue on cohesion. Right? So, that's the model of ConsolCube, Blake and Moulton's ConsolCube model. And then, the last model is the Redis intervention cube. So this cube naman focuses on customization of interventions by defining the focus, the type of intervention, and the intensity, kung low, medium, or high ba yung issue na yan. So it is particularly helpful for tailoring the depth and nature of interventions to ensure that they resonate effectively with the participants and address the specific aspects of behavior and organizational functionality needed. So meron tayong tatlong dimension: focus, types, okay, and then types of intervention, and then level of intervention of focus. and ano ba yung kanyang intensity, the depth or strength of the intervention, low, medium, or high. Okay? So let's try to look into the types. Pag sinasabi nating cognitive, designed to increase knowledge or intellectual and understanding. Pag skill and activity naman, focus on developing specific skills through activities or practice. Behavior description, so we will be observing specific behaviors, and kapag hindi akma yung kanyang behavior, we can modify that. Emotional or reflective, aims to engage emotions or reflective thinking to inspire change. Then interpretive helps individuals or organizations interpret or make sense of the situations or behaviors in different ways. Then intensity, it could be intensity of the intensity of the intervention. Okay. Pag low, ito yung sinasabi natin na light touch interventions na that may involve only minor changes or low levels of personal or group engagement. Ang medium naman, these are more engaging than low intensity interventions requiring moderate commitment and having a moderate impact. And then pag high, ito yung intense interventions that demands high levels of engagement and they are designed to produce significant changes doon sa individuals, interpersonal, and groups. So, etong cube na to, particularly useful for OD practitioners to ensure na yung mga dinedesign and implement na mga interventions are aligned to the specific needs of the organization or group. Okay? So, nakakatulong ito to choose the right type of intervention that matches the intensity required to address the focal issues effectively. Let's say, for example, a sales team has recently faced significant decline in performance, primarily due to poor teamwork and ineffective communication. So the team leader has noticed increased conflicts and a general lack of motivation among team members. So ang focus nito, sales team, alam yung mga word. So the intervention will target the entire sales team as a collective unit. So group, ang focus niyan ay group. Para ma-improve how they will work together and communicate with one another. The intensity, okay, gaano ba ka-intense ngayon yan? Is it low, medium, or high? Sales team yan ha, sales team. Tapos meron silang significant decline in performance. So for me, in my assessment, since they are sales team and ang sales team, sila yung nag-bring ng revenue dun sa organization, ang intensity nito ay high. Because if the sales team will not be able to perform effectively, diba, maapektuhan ngayon yung profitability ng isang organization. So napaka-important ng issue ng team performance doon sa sales team. Therefore, ang intervention will require high engagement from all team members. Dapat lahat sila. Okay, mayroong commitment, they are engaged. Kasama sila doon sa intervention. Okay. So ano kaya dito ang possible na type of intervention? Para ma-solve yung issue on yung mga poor teamwork and ineffective communication. Tapos may mga conflicts. Tapos mga motivation. So, this is more on emotional and reflective. Okay. Para ma-express ng team members yung kanilang feelings, reflect on the impact of their behavior on others, and develop empathy towards their colleagues. So, with this one, pwede siguro ang specific intervention muna naman dito is You implement team building workshops. That includes activities designed to build trust and improve communication. Pwede rin siguro yung mga reflective practice, wherein team members will evaluate their weekly interactions and discuss ways to improve their communication and cooperation. So pag titignan ngayon dito, based on the scenario, the intervention strategy will use high intensity, group focus, and emotional and reflective approach to tackle the issues of poor teamwork and communication para ma-restore yung sales team cohesion and enhance their overall performance. Okay? Let's continue to the levels of intervention. Kanina, we talk about all the intervention models or framework. Now, we will now be discussing the levels. Ano ba yung mga levels of intervention? Where in fact, napahapyawan tayo mo Tatay Dijayan, di ba? Doon sa discussion natin. It could be group, individual, could be the organization as a whole. Okay. So, somehow, napasadaan tayo the levels of intervention. Okay, so, in intervention, attention needs to be paid to the level of system at which you are intervening, okay, from the three cubes. Okay. So, di kaya, di ba? Nakita yung focus of attention, unit of change, focus of interventions. Those are examples of level of intervention. And levels can range from individual to a team to an organization. And also, sumurot mo ka na ano ti activities or ano ti level nga solve mo adamo ti specific nga intervention. Okay. So, yun yung connection ng model na yan dito sa yung mga models na discuss natin dito sa levels of intervention. And also, most of the time, if you will be going or undergoing OD initiatives, most of the time, lahat ng levels na yan, kailangan ma-penetrate para magkaroon ng sustainable change. So, ibig sabihin, the more levels of system and intervention activity can impact, the better the outcome will be. Okay? But you have to ensure na ikaya lang ba kitaan nyo na ba talaga the primary target or unit that your intervention should aim for. So, if you will now be conducting OD consulting, you have to determine ano ba yung mga levels of levels of systems will I need to intervene, at saka ano yung primary level na bibigyan natin ng interventions. So having identified what level of system, so ang trabaho ngayon ng OD consultant is to identify what type of intervention they can use. Okay. So intrapersonal. Okay. So ang focus nito is on individual employees, particularly on changing mindsets, paradigms, values, and addressing emotional blockages. So example dito siguro yung pagpo-provide ng mga personal development programs para matulungan yung mga empleyado to shift from a fixed to a growth mindset, enabling them to tackle challenges more effectively and advance in their career. Okay. So, yan, yung mga babaguhin mo dyan, mga mindset, emotional states, personal development, so mga possible na intervention dito are coaching, mindfulness training, career pathing, skills development, performance feedback, training, ganyan. Then we have interpersonal level. So ito naman, ang ina-address is relationship between individuals, helping to resolve conflicts, improve communication, and foster better teamwork. Okay? So yung mga possible siguro na mga intervention dito is yung mga conflict resolution. Ano pa ba? Okay. Pwede rin siguro yung communication skills training, diversity and inclusion training, peer mentoring programs, team alignment sessions, yung mga ganun. Then the next level or the third type of level is group level. Ito naman, focus na on dynamics within a team or department. So this level seeks to improve how group members interact, make decisions, and achieve goals. So you will be dealing with the overall dynamics and effectiveness of a team or department. So pwede siguro yung mga team building retreats, group problem solving workshop, innovation labs, feedback culture development, and siguro pwede rin yung mga rule clarity workshops para maintindihan ng mga members within the team kung ano yung kanilang mga kanya-kanyang roles and responsibilities to ensure that everyone understands their contributions and expectations. So meron din tayong intergroup level. Okay? So this level looks at the relationship between different groups or departments within an organization to improve coordination and cooperation. Okay? So that tayo group namin within the group na lang department. Pero ito 2 units or different groups or departments within the organization. Ang focus naman ng level of intervention na to. Okay. Example, siguro if you will be facilitating workshops between the marketing and sales teams to better align yung kanilang mga strategies and understand kung ano ang role ng kanilang sariling department for strategic formulation and implementation processes. Okay, so it's more of the interaction and coordination between different groups or departments. So, mga possible intervention dito is yung mga cross-functional teams, joint strategy sessions, okay, shared goals and metrics, yung siguro paggamit ng mga collaborative platforms using technology solutions that enable better sharing of information and collaboration across different teams. The number 5, intra-unit level. Intra-unit, ito na iba rin naman, ano? Concentrates on the integration or interaction within subunits of the same department to ensure they support each other's work and maintain coherence in their output. Especially for large organizations, let's say for example sa HR department, minsan sa mga malalaking organization, merong specific unit pa sila. Merong unit ng recruitment, merong unit ng payroll, merong unit ng training, merong unit ng employee relations. So, yun yung mga different units in that certain department. So, pwede rin kasi may mga issue yan with one another. Yun yung intra-unit naman. So they have to learn how to support each other's work and use procedures and processes so that their functional output will be coherent and acceptable to other divisions. And then we have inter-unit level. Ito naman, ang target is the interaction between different units or departments, focusing on improving how they dovetail their efforts for organizational success. Okay, so example dito siguro yung may mga cross-departmental projects. For example, yung IT at saka finance department. Okay. They will be creating a new budgeting software. So, minsan merong mga handa nga pagkinawatan, there will be issues because handa agpadati perspective. Okay. So, that could be another example or an example of inter-unit level issue on OD, and then it also necessitate different kind of intervention. And then we have here bounded system level. The bounded system level, ito na yung tinatawag natin na organizational level. Okay? ang level nito is hindi na lang mga units, hindi na lang mga departments, but the organization as a whole. Okay? Yan yung level na yan. And then we have here naman total systems in its environment level. Okay. So this level of intervention in OD encompasses now the broadest perspective by considering the organization's entire ecosystem. So you will not just be focusing with the organization nyo, but iraman mo pwede dito other stakeholders yon. Okay? You have to integrate and align the interests and contributions of all stakeholders, such as yung mga suppliers mo, customers, funders, partners, staff, volunteers, towards a unified mission. So, ang goal nito is now to create sustainable and mutually beneficial systems where each component contributes to and supports the others, enhancing the organization's ability to achieve yung kanyang mga mission and thrive over the long term. Okay? Kasi na-discuss tayo the open systems. Organizations are open systems. They don't operate in isolation but as a part of larger system which includes various external and internal stakeholders. So this approach recognizes that yung mga stakeholders mo, suppliers, customers, funders, they have the potential to influence the effectiveness and sustainability of your organization. Now, if you actively engage these groups and align yung goals mo, and align their goals with the mission of the organization will be able to create a more resilient and adaptive system. So, mga possible intervention dito are in stakeholder integration, collaborative networks, yung mga possible. Okay? So, yun, yung mga various levels of intervention. Right, so natapos natin yung models or frameworks for all the intervention and levels of intervention. Now, we will now be discussing yung major types of intervention. So, we have here 4 major types. We have human process, human resource management process, human resource management intervention, human process intervention, technostructural intervention, and strategic change. Okay, so focus tayo muna dito sa human process interventions. So these interventions focus on the interpersonal and group dynamics within the organization. So ang aim ng interventions na to is to improve communication, collaboration, conflict resolution, overall group effectiveness. They also aim to improve how people work together by enhancing yung communication, resolving conflicts, and promoting teamwork. Okay? So basically, ang human processes interventions can enhance collaboration, resolve conflicts, support, and even support change management and improve communication. Yan yung human process. Ang human process intervention, it deals with yung mga OD initiatives such as team development. When you want to build effective teams with strong communication and collaborative skills, you can use human process interventions. Pwede ring gamitin if you are looking into enhancing leadership capabilities at various levels within the organization, we can use human process intervention. Human process interventions can also be used in conflict resolutions. If you want to create mechanisms and skills within teams to manage and resolve conflicts constructively, pwede rin. Okay, nagamitin ang human process. Aside from that, pwede rin na magamit to for communication enhancement if you wanted to develop and implement strategies to improve internal and external communication channels. Pwede rin ang human process interventions. And in general, if you are dealing with change management as a whole, okay, if you want to facilitate smooth transitions during organizational changes through group interventions and support, you could use human process interventions. So etong intervention na to is very crucial when the organization is looking to enhance how individuals and groups interact and function together, particularly when you are aiming to foster a cooperative and productive organizational culture. Okay, so yun yung human process interventions. Ang techno-structural interventions naman, ang focus nito, focus on organization's technology and structure. So basically, they are concerned with improving organizational effectiveness through changes in technology, workflow design, and organizational structure. So this involves now changes in organization's architecture, organizational structure, such as siguro yun mga restructuring department, redesigning jobs, and even implementing new technologies. So, kailan ba nagagamit itong anong mga types of OD initiatives ang pwede nating panggamitan ng techno-structural? Okay, number one, if you will be conducting organizational restructuring, if you will be changing the organizational structure of your business para may align natin ng maayos yung strategic objectives, pwedeng gamitin ang techno-structural intervention. If you are also implementing technology, if you want to integrate new technology that could enhance productivity and communication, pwedeng gamitin ang techno-structural intervention. Kapag meron ka ring gustong i-modify doon sa workflow, doon sa organization ninyo para merong greater efficiency, okay? Minsan tinatawag to na business process re-engineering. If you have initiatives such as BPR or process engineering, pwedeng gamitin ang techno-structural intervention. Okay. Ano pa yung mga possible na OD initiative? Pwede rin siguro pag magkaroon kayo ng mga job enrichment or job design. If you want to alter job roles to better match yung organizational needs and employee skills para ma-enhance yung satisfaction and efficiency, pwedeng gamitin ang techno-structural intervention. And pwede rin, if you are implementing quality management or total quality management in your organization, yung tinatawag natin na Lean Six Sigma, pwede rin tayong pwede natin gamitin ang techno-structural interventions. So, ang intervention na techno-structural kasi essentially ito, kapag yung organization mo need na mag-adapt doon sa structure, technology, or to improve efficiency and effectiveness para makapag you keep pace with the industry advancements, or kapag gusto mong mag-grow pa yung organization. So, yun yung techno-structural. Doon natin pwedeng gamitin. Number 3, human resource management interventions. So these interventions are centered around improving the ways in which human resources are being managed. So alam naman natin yung human resource management. This includes now yung mga functions such as recruitment, selection, training, development, and performance management systems. So if you are dealing, kailan ba natin pwedeng gamitin to ng mga interventions? Anong mga OD initiatives ang pwede natin panggamitan? Okay, so if you are dealing with developing and if you are developing advanced techniques and processes for attracting and selecting the right talent, you could use HRM initiatives. If you are creating ongoing educational and development opportunities to keep skills relevant and para mas ma-heighten yung employee engagement, you could use HRM interventions. If you want to implement or upgrade performance evaluation systems to ensure fair and motivating assessment practices, you could use HRM interventions. If you're also initiating activities aimed to improve job satisfaction, loyalty, and organizational commitment, you could use HRM interventions. And lastly, pwede rin doon sa if your organizations are preparing for future leadership needs, so yung succession plan, okay, by identifying and developing potential leaders within the organization, we could use human resource management interventions. Kasi ang focus talaga nito is on the organizational need to manage yung human capital effectively, ensuring that the right people are in the right roles, they are well trained, and they are motivated to perform at their best. Then, lastly, we have here the strategic change. So these interventions naman aim at modifying ngayon yung overall strategy of an organization to align it better with external market and environmental demands. So this includes now reassessing and realigning organizational goals, strategies, and procedures to adapt to external changes. So, kailan ba ginagamit ang mga strategic change interventions? Anong mga type of OD initiatives? Okay, kapag merong strategic alignment, if you are revising the organization's strategic goals and operations to better fit market demands and future opportunities, gagamitin ang strategic change interventions. If there's also initiative for cultural transformation, if you wanted to shift the organizational culture in response to internal or external pressures, pwedeng gamitin ang strategic change interventions. Kapag merong mga mergers and acquisition, if you wanted to manage the integration or separation of organizations, pwedeng gamitin ang strategic change interventions. If you are also planning to expand your market, if you are developing strategies to enter a new market or segments, including international, multinational, or global expansion, pwedeng gumamit ng strategic change interventions. And if you are also initiating sustainable initiatives, pwede rin gumamit ng strategic change interventions. So itong mga interventions under strategic change, they are particularly relevant when the organization seeks to significantly transform its direction or operations in response to changes in external business environments, competitive pressures, or internal growth targets. So mas holistic na yung approach ng strategic change because we are aligning the organizational internal capabilities with external opportunities and threats, ensuring that the organization remains competitive and viable in the long term. Okay? So, there you have it, the major types of interventions. So, all of these are important across different initiatives. So, pag human process, they are pivotal, they are important when the key issues relate to interpersonal relationships and team dynamics. So they are essential in building a strong internal culture and supports effective communication and collaboration. Kapag technostructural naman, these are crucial when structural inefficiencies or outdated technologies hinder organizational performance. So tumutulong ang interventions na to to ensure that the organization structure and technological foundations supports its strategic objectives. Kapag HRM interventions naman, ang focus is on the people within the organization, aiming to improve, optimize recruitment, development, and retention strategies to build skilled and motivated workforce. So pag strategic change interventions naman, these are necessary for ensuring the organization strategy in response to and proactive in changing market conditions. So, tinutulungan niya mga organizations to navigate through significant transformations and ensure long-term sustainability. So, together, itong apat na major types of intervention ensures that organization can adapt, thrive, and sustain performance over time, addressing both internal and external challenges effectively. All right? So, let us now discuss one by one the specific interventions along these four major types of intervention. Let's start with strategic change interventions. So these are comprehensive and holistic in nature. So we will be aligning now the organization's internal operations, yung kanyang mga structure, processes, and culture with the dynamic external environment. Para ma-ensure natin that responsive ang organization and para maging proactive din sila to manage its future direction. So napaka-crucial ng interventions na to for maintaining the relevance and competitiveness of organization in a rapidly changing world. So meron tayong tatlong type of strategic interventions: transformational change, continuous change intervention, and trans-organizational change intervention. So each type addresses different aspects of change within and beyond the organization. Pag transformational change, na-discuss natin ito noon, di ba? Meron tayong tatlong types of change: developmental, transitional, and transformational change. So we know already kung ano ba ang transformational change. Normally, this occurs in response to or in anticipation of major changes in your organization's environment and technology due to, or pwede rin siguro kapag nag-revise kayo ng inyong mga business strategies. Okay? So pag sinasabi natin transformational change interventions, these are deep systematic changes that fundamentally alter the way the organization operates and interacts with its external environments. So normally, these are being driven by shifts in your strategy, leadership, or significant changes in the market or technology that necessitates a complete overhaul of your business processes, organizational structure, and corporate culture. Ang possible example dito, pag nag-digital transformation kayo, cultural re-engineering, strategic pivoting, okay? Transformational change interventions ang mga kailangan doon. Then we have here continuous change interventions. Ang focus naman nito is on embedding a capacity for ongoing change within the organizational culture and operations. So ang pinopromote dito is more on fostering a culture of learning, adaptability, and innovation, na hindi lang kayo nag-change kung merong change sa leadership, sa strategy, sa external environment, no? Or you are constantly monitoring what is happening in your environment so that you could continually evolve to meet yung mga changing demands ng mga customers and other stakeholders. Then we have trans-organizational change interventions. This extends beyond the boundaries of a single organization to include partnership, alliances, mergers, or networks that span multiple organizations. So hindi ka na lang nakapokus sa internal operations ng yung organization, but you will be dealing with other organization, kaya nga trans-organizational. So, ang mga possible example dito is strategic alliances, merger integrations, and the like. So, in each interventions, mayroon pang mga specific interventions. Let's say, for example, dito sa transformational change interventions, meron tayong organization design, meron tayong integrated strategic change, at meron tayong culture change. So, pag-usapan natin itong organization design. So, pag organization design, we are changing the organizational structure, work design, HR practices, and management processes. And also, we are going to determine if you will be operating domestically or in a worldwide setting. So, depende doon sa gusto mong mangyari doon sa organization mo, titignan mo kung ano bang organization design ang fit or align doon sa strategy ng isang organization so that they are mutually mutually supportive to execute yung inyong organizational strategy. So, pag-usapan natin yan. So, ito yung model, systems model of organization design. So, remember, pag sasama natin organization design intervention, we are modifying the organization structure and processes. Bakit importante, no? Or why is it effective? Why is effective organization design so crucial? Kasi pag hindi maganda ang inyong organization design, you might not be able to respond to this fast-paced business environment, especially kapag mayroong mabilis na mga market shifts, technological advancement, and competitive pressures. So, kailangan every now and then, you have to make it sure that yung organization design mo is adaptive to these changes. So, meron tayong model dito, systems model of organization design, how business strategy is intricately linked with various organizational components such as yung org structure ninyo, HR practices, management process, and work design. So makikita natin dito lahat dapat ng mga elements are harmonized with the strategic goals of the organization. Yan, harmonize. Naka-link ta amin ka dito eh. There must be strategic fit with the business strategy. So lahat ng elements ng organization design, hindi lang siya nagsusupport doon sa business strategy but enhances our business strategy. Okay? So, meron tayong two types of traditional organization design. Okay? Two primary types of organizational design, mechanistic and organic. And itong dalawang to, they have or they serve different environmental and strategic needs. So if you can see in the mechanistic design, it is a traditional organizational form characterized by hierarchy and clear rigid structures. So this type of organization design is suitable for environments that are stable and predictable. Kung ang negosyo mo, ang kanyang main objectives are efficiency and control, kung yun yung ang business strategy nyo, applicable ang mechanistic design. Kasi ini-emphasize dito sa design na to, yung formal decision making, centralized authority, and standard procedures. So organic design naman, it is in contrast with the organic design, which is more flexible and adaptable. This design thrives in dynamic, uncertain environments where quick responses to changes is crucial. So ano yung kanyang mga features? Meron sang features ng flat structures, decentralized decision making, and less formalized procedures, which allows greater autonomy and quicker adjustments. So, depende yan sa gustong patunguhan ng organization. Ano ba ang business strategy niya? Maging effective ba tayo kapag we follow mechanistic design, or mas magiging maganda ang ating organization kapag we follow organic design? So, the choice between mechanistic and organic structure should be informed by the organization's strategic orientation, market conditions, and internal capabilities. So, kailangan natin i-consider kung how these designs can help or hinder the organization's ability to meet its goals. Okay? So, practically speaking, organization might find themselves shifting between these designs or integrating elements of both, depending on their strategic needs and external pressures. So it's all about flexibility and adaptation in organizational design to meet yung mga challenges of today and in the future. Other types of organization design, ito naman ay more on world setting, worldwide organization design alternatives. Okay. Kasi ang important trend ngayon na hinaharap ng mga business firms is the emergence of a global marketplace, okay, which is driven by competitive pressures, lower trade barriers, increased knowledge work, and advances in information technologies, and the number of companies developing or offering their products and services in multiple countries are on the rise. So, magde-decide ang organization kung tayo ba ay magiging or we will be developing a worldwide organization design. Okay. So, meron tayong dito, apat na worldwide success factors. So, titignan natin dito kasi pag nasa transformational change ka, it's essential for organizations to operate globally. So if you will be operating globally, there will be major shifts in organization strategy, structure, and culture so that you will be able to respond effectively to the international market challenges and opportunities. So we have here in global context, ibig sabihin pag strategic o the interventions tayo, you are configuring the organization's design to support different strategic orientations. So, pwedeng international, global, multinational, or transnational, depending on the organizational needs for global integration and local responsiveness. So meron tayong kanila mga orientations. So you could look now at this table or figure to understand kung ano yung need for global integration and need for local integration. So makikita natin dito, for example, dun sa transformational. Okay, let's look at the design characteristic. Palagay natin. Okay. All right. Okay, so as you can see in here, if you plan to go to adapt international, ito yung magiging strategy, structure, and management process and HR practices or processes ninyo. Pag global naman, ito yung possible. Okay, na business strategy nyo, structure, management processes, and human resources practices. So maraming itatransform if you wanted to adopt a global or worldwide setting organizational design. So it's highlighted here in this table. Let's say, for example, consider a corporation that transitioned from multinational to global strategic orientation ng kanyang design. So the intervention might be involve centralizing on R&D, aligning marketing strategies across markets to capitalize on economies of scale. So this will require extensive training, changes in leadership roles, and possibly a cultural shift towards a more unified corporate identity. Kapag yung isang organization naman, nag-move siya doon sa multinational model to increase local responsiveness. So yung transformation na yan would include decentralized decision-making and possibly reorganizing into a geographical divisions. Okay? Each with the power to adapt products and strategies for local consumer preferences. So, conclusion, strategic OD intervention, especially on transformational change, these are crucial for organizations looking to successfully navigate and compete in the global marketplace. So by aligning your organizational design with the appropriate global strategic orientation, organizations can ensure they are not only efficient but also highly responsive to the local market needs. Okay, so yun yung organization design. Next type of transformational change intervention is the integrated strategic change. So this is an approach where organization undergoes a fundamental shift not only in strategic objectives but also papalitan din niya yung kanyang organizational design, processes, and often its culture. Okay. So basically, ang integrated strategic change, if you will be looking at this figure, okay, it's about reassessing yung kanyang strategic aims. You cut strategy, tapos i-assess mo, kailangan bang baguhin yan, kailangan bang i-improve yan based on different drivers of change, based on what is happening in your external market environment, and then looking into your internal capabilities. So you will be identifying gaps, inefficiencies, misalignments with the emerging trends, competitive pressures, or new opportunities. And then, papalitan mo yung strategic plan mo para makadevelop ka ng bagong strategic agenda. Okay. So based on the insight gained from your assessment or analysis, the organization will develop a new strategic agenda. So, and then, based on the new strategic agenda, mag-change ka ngayon ng mga organizational design, mag-change ka ng inyong mga processes, and mag-change ka ng inyong organizational culture. And then, you will be implementing that new strategic agenda. So, kakailanganin dyan ng mga different types of interventions also. Okay, so yun yung integrated strategic change. Then number 3, third type of transformational change is the culture change. Okay. So papalitan natin ngayon yung existing or yung current organizational culture. Okay. Ano ba ang definition ng organizational culture? So, org culture includes artifacts, norms, values, basic assumptions shared by organization members. So, basically, org culture is the meanings attached to these elements, yung mga artifacts, norms, values, and basic assumptions to help members make sense out of everyday life in the organization. Okay? So it's simply saying that this is how we live in this organization, and this is our way of life. So, okay? So if you wanted to get to know better kung ano ibig sabihin ng mga yan, okay, please do some internet search. I think you encountered this already in your organizational behavior subject or in other management subjects. And to change a culture, or to build a culture and change a culture, merong provide ang Ateneo Cord, yung framework nila on how to change it ay ito. Communicate the desired values, role modeling, engage organization, align systems and structures, train for innovation, and evaluate and reinforce. Kasi ito yung mga papalitan natin na mga culture, components ng culture. So ano ba ang basic assumptions? Ang basic assumptions, ito yung mga beliefs, deeply ingrained beliefs and perceptions that are taken for granted and are often unconscious. Okay, let's say, for example, the belief that employees are inherently motivated and trustworthy, or that innovation is crucial for the organization's survival. Okay? Sa setting ng MSU, ano ba ang ating ingrained beliefs? We believe in the values of integrity, excellence, knowledge, inclusiveness, okay, innovation. So in everything that we do, lagi nating iniisip yung mga yon. So yun yung basic assumptions. Ano naman ang mga values? These are organization stated principles and standards that guides behavior and decision making. So they are more conscious than your basic assumptions, but still they are deeply embedded. So yung mga nakalagay sa ating mga core values, integrity, excellence, teamwork, customer focus. So yung mga example ng values. And then we have norms. These are unwritten rules and expectations about how people should behave in the organization. So yung ating mga norms influence our daily behavior and interactions. Example dito ng norms ay yung ating mga dress code, communication styles, meeting etiquettes, yung the way we organize activities, events in our organization. Okay. Artifacts. These are the most visible and tangible elements of culture kasi nakikita natin dito yung mga physical, environment, language, symbols, rituals, and ceremonies. So ito yung mga office layout natin, yung mga dress code, logos, slogans, the way meetings are conducted. These are examples of artifacts. So how do we change? Yun yung mga apat na change natin dito sa culture change. Okay? And then another major kind of strategic intervention is yung continuous change interventions. So meron tayong self-designing, learning organization, and built to change organization. Pag sinasabi nating self-designing, this kind of intervention is focused on empowering organizations to take ownership of their transformation journeys. So this involves a highly participatory process where multiple stakeholders collaborate to define kung ano ba yung strategic directions, anong design yung appropriate structure and systems natin, and then implement those changes. So, meron din tayong Learning organization, concept ng learning organization. This intervention centers on cultivating a culture of learning and knowledge sharing throughout the organization. So yung mga concept dyan ng mga knowledge management are part of interventions under learning organization. So basically, you are developing systems and processes to acquire, disseminate, and utilize knowledge effectively. And also, you are encouraging continuous learning to your employees so that they will be able to enhance yung kanilang problem-solving capabilities, innovation, potential, and overall performance. Okay? So, then lastly, we have here built to change organizations. So, ang approach na to is more on built to change. It is challenging the traditional notion that stability equals success. So instead of promoting yung mindset where continuous change is viewed as a source of competitive advantage, ang sinasabi dito is kailangan tayo ay maging isang B2C organization. Ibig sabihin, we should embrace flexibility, adaptability, and innovation as part of our mantra and core values. So they have to develop structures, systems, and leadership that practices that supports ongoing evolution and responsiveness to changing market conditions. Okay? And then we have here na yung ating mga trans-organizational change interventions. Okay. So as discussed earlier, ang trans-organizational change interventions move beyond the single organization. So meron tayong tatlong types of trans-organizational change. So meron tayong mergers and acquisitions, alliances, and networks. Okay. Pag mergers and acquisitions, it's about combining two or more organizations into a new entity. Okay. So yan yung mergers and acquisitions. Bakit ba nagkakaroon ng mergers and acquisitions? Bakit nagme-merge at kaya nag-acquire ng another organization ng isang organization? If there is financial distress, when one or both companies are facing financial difficulties, yung merger or acquisition can provide a lifeline for combining resources and cutting costs. Okay. And also kapag meron ding reason of synergy, when two companies meron silang complementary strengths and capabilities, yung merger at saka acquisition can create synergy, leading to increased efficiency and innovation. If also there is a need for market consolidation, diversification, and talent acquisition, normally, nagkakaroon ng mergers and acquisition. Ano yung mga possible na example ng mga mergers and acquisition? Disney and Pixar, nag-merge sila noong 2006. It's a prime example of successful merger and acquisition. Ano pa? AT&T and Time Warner. Mga ngayon. Sa Philippines, sino ba yung mga nag-merge na sikat na merge ng companies dito? I think more on acquisition. Okay, so yun yung mergers and acquisitions. Then we have alliances. These are collaborative partnerships where two organizations work together to achieve a common goal by sharing resources such as intellectual property, people, capital, technology, capabilities, and other physical assets. Okay. So bakit nagkakaroon ng alliances? Kakaroon because at some point meron ding kailangan mag-share kayo ng resources to help in the development or to help in your market expansion, risk mitigation, to also foster innovation, and to attain competitive advantage. Example nito is yung Starbucks at saka Spotify. They leverage the power of music and coffee to enhance customer experiences. Yung GoPro at saka Red Bull. Okay? So GoPro is camera technology, yeah, with Red Bull's extreme sports events. Yung Apple at saka Mastercard, yung collaboration between Apple and Mastercard resulted in the development of Apple Pay, a mobile payment and digital wallet service. So these alliances combine Apple technology expertise with Mastercard payment network to create a seamless and secure payment experience for users. Okay, and then lastly, trans-organizational change intervention involves networks. This involves developing relationship among 3 or more organizations to address complex tasks or problems that are too challenging for individual organizations to solve alone. Okay? So nangyayari to kapag mayroong mga problem or challenges that is too complex for single organization to solve. At kailangan ng network of organizations who pool their resources and expertise to find a solution. Pag meron din mga shared goals, pwedeng gamitin ang networks. Kung merong knowledge sharing, collective action, resource mobilization, kailangan ng intervention on networks. Okay, example dito, siguro yung, kaya nga meron tayong World Economic Forum, United Nations, ASEAN. Yeah. Those are examples of networks. Okay, so yung tatlong type ng trans-organizational change interventions, these are really important if you are dealing with, or if you are addressing complex challenges, achieving shared goals, leveraging synergies, expanding reach and impact, and enhancing organizational learning. Okay? So, tapos na tayo sa strategic interventions. Proceed naman tayo sa techno-structural interventions. So, ang emphasis talaga ng techno-structural is on productivity and efficiency as well as human fulfillment and appreciation by making sure that yung ating mga technology, yung ating mga methods, and yung ating org structure are efficient and effective. So meron tayong 6 interventions dito. We have structural design, downsizing, reengineering. Let's start with this 3. So pag sinasabi ng structural design, it's basically focusing on how the organization divide and coordinates labor to achieve efficiency and effectiveness in task completion. Okay. So, ano ba yung mga types of org structure? Meron tayong mga traditional, meron tayong matrix, okay, divisional structure, and the like. Meron din tayong downsizing. Ano ba ang downsizing? The downsizing aims to reduce costs and bureaucracy by reducing the organization's size. And this intervention aims to reduce costs and bureaucracy by reducing the number of employees, number of departments, communication channels. Those are examples of downsizing. So you will be eliminating some layers, okay, of your management, or pwede ka rin siguro mag-outsource ng inyong non-core functions to external providers. So, kailan ba ginagamit ang downsizing as an intervention to organizational issues? Kapag mayroong mga financial crisis. Okay, para kapag mayroong mga market contraction, okay, shrinking market, or declining demand for products and services. So you will be downsizing. Pag merong mga technological advancements, so you will now be automating and you will be automating some of your jobs. Okay. Mergers and acquisitions. Kapag merong mga overlapping functions, redundant roles, mag-downsize ka talaga. And also strategic alignment. Kapag nag-decide yung company to focus na lang on its core competencies, pwede siyang mag-downsize or i-divest niya na yung kanyang mga non-core business units. Then number 3, we have here re-engineering. This involves a radical redesign of core work processes to improve efficiency, quality, and customer service. So this often involves using new technology to automate tasks and streamline workflows. Yan yung re-engineering. And most of the time, you are going to use re-engineering intervention because meron kang mga outdated processes. Okay, merong malakas na competitive pressure. You are being outperformed by a company due to kasi meron silang mas superior processes. So you are using re-engineering to stay competitive. Kapag merong mga technological advancement, talagang i-redesign mo yung mga processes mo para ma-achieve yung significant improvements in your efficiency and quality of your products. Kapag iba rin yung customer expectations, especially kapag mas gusto nila ng personalized service, so a re-engineering effort will meet these changing customer expectations. Kapag merong mga regulatory changes or merong mga pagbabago sa mga industry standards, this will necessitate a re-engineering of your processes to ensure compliance and maintain operational efficiency. Other examples of technostructural interventions, we have here total quality management, job enrichment, and self-managed work teams. I know these are terms that are not new to you anymore, correct? Yung TQM, job enrichment, and self-managed work teams. Okay, so alam naman natin kung anong TQM. It's a comprehensive management approach focused on improving the quality of your organizational outputs through continuous refinement in your processes, yun yung systems, and yung mga various tools na ginagamit ninyo to produce your products and services. Job enrichment. Also, itong TQM pala, ginagamit na ito na intervention kung there is high competition markets, kung saan quality is a key differentiator and continuous improvement is necessary to stay competitive. And also, if you wanted to become a customer-centric organization, TQM is being used as a good intervention. Okay? Kapag meron din kayong mga complex processes, ginagamit din ang total quality management. Then we have job enrichment. This is more of redesigning jobs to make them more challenging and rewarding. So these are based on the theory of Hirschberg two-factor, which suggests that kapag in-increase natin yung job responsibilities, autonomy, and feedback, ma-enhance natin yung employee motivation and satisfaction. So it's basically it's about making the job or creating a job that is meaningful, it has autonomy, and it offers opportunities for personal growth and development. So if you want people to be motivated and satisfied with the jobs, you provide them autonomy, you provide them task significance, you should be able to use variety of skills, they should be provided with regular and constructive feedback, and they should be provided with opportunities to develop their skills and advance their career. So ginagamit ito kapag merong mataas na high turnover, and also kapag you wanted to develop your employees, and kapag merong mga performance improvement. Then lastly, we have self-managed work teams. Self-managed work teams are group employees who are given the authority and responsibility to manage themselves and their work Self-managed, from the word self-manage. So these teams are responsible now to complete a product or service, and sila na mismo yung magde-decide in relation to task allocation, scheduling, quality control. So this encourage teamwork, enhance employee engagement, and ownership. So ginagamit ito kapag kailangan ng quick decision making and flexibility are essential. And also ginagamit rin ito as intervention if tasks required diverse skills and collaborative efforts. And ginagamit din ito kapag you wanted to empower your employees. If yung strategic focus nyo is employee empowerment and engagement, you should be able to use this intervention, self-managed work teams. Okay? So in summary, dito yung natalo, TQM, job enrichment, self-managed, these are powerful tools to improve organizational performance and employee satisfaction. All right, so we're down to last two type of intervention, human resource management intervention and human process intervention. So pag sinasabi nating human resource management interventions, these are crucial for aligning lahat ng mga employee actions and attitudes with the overall arcing goals of an organization. So you are integrating HR strategies with the business objectives to ensuring that every aspect of HR resources or human resource management, from recruitment, training, performance rewards, is geared towards enhancing organizational performance. Okay? So ang key focus ng HRM intervention is to cultivate a supportive and engaging work environment that nurtures employee well-being and productivity. So this involves now implementing comprehensive employee engagement initiatives that enhance job satisfaction and create a sense of community among workers. Okay? So these are not new terms to you. Example, yung mga goal setting intervention, yung paggamit ng management by objectives, yung goal setting, MBO. Alam niyo yan? Can you still recall that one? Concept of MBO. So ginagamit itong intervention na to if you have a new strategic initiatives. When you are embarking on a new strategic directions or projects and needs to align yung mga employee efforts with these new objectives. Pwede rin gamitin ang goal setting intervention if you wanted to improve performance of underperforming individuals, teams, departments, so that there is a clarity of expectations and enhanced focus. Pwede rin siyang gamitin as intervention if you are restructuring your organization para makapag-adjust, matulungan na makapag-adjust yung mga empleyado dun sa kanilang roles and team dynamics and klaro sa kanila yung kanilang performance expectations. So, basically, ang goal setting na-address niya yung mga OD issues on lack of alignment between individual activities and organizational goals. Kapag mababa rin yung employee engagement and unclear job expectations, you use goal setting. Okay? And then we have performance appraisal. So this type of intervention is systematic process of jointly assessing work-related achievements, strengths, and weaknesses. So ginagamit naman itong performance appraisal intervention if gusto niyo mag-provide ng regular formal feedback to employees about their performance. Kapag merong mga after project completion, kapag merong mga career development planning, kasi ang gusto nating ma-resolve na OD issues dito is kapag merong misalignment between performance and expectations and actual employee output. Kapag merong mga employee development and promotion stagnation, kapag merong mga disparities dun sa recognition and rewards, may affect morale and productivity. So, this performance appraisal is important factors to address those OD issues. So you will be using siguro yung mga 360-degree feedback, performance rating scales, development performance appraisal. Then we have here the rewards system. Etong intervention naman na to involves the design of rewards in the organization para ma-enhance natin yung satisfaction and performance. So ano yung mga possible na approaches to pay our employees, such as promotions and the incorporation of other benefits. So ginagamit ito as an intervention when you want to enhance motivation and retention. When also rewarding, okay, yung mga high performers, yung mga individuals, teams, groups, departments na maganda ang kanilang performance. And ginagamit din ito kapag merong mga changes in your organizational goals, in your operational processes to ensure that rewards continue to motivate desired behaviors. So, yun yung mga possible conditions when to use reward system as intervention. So, pwede kang gumamit ng performance-based pay, non-monetary rewards, employee benefit platforms. So, these HRM interventions, kapag in-apply natin with all the principles and practices, it could enhance employee satisfaction, overall alignment of individual performance and strategic objectives, and of course, it could enhance organizational effectiveness. Additional HRM interventions, this includes coaching. Okay. So, ginagamit ito for personal development of executives and employees through a structured one-on-one relationship with a coach or mentor. So, ang aim nito is to help individuals clarify kung ano yung kanilang mga goals, okay, para ma-enhance yung kanilang professional performance. So, ginagamit ito kapag merong mga leadership transitions, merong kailangang improve na performance, and also if you are preparing high potential employees for future leadership roles. So, ginagamit itong coaching and mentoring. Then we have number 2, Management and Leadership Development Program. So, itong intervention na to is designed to develop the capabilities of organizational members to lead effectively. So, pwedeng gumamit ka ng mga workshops, seminars, simulations, case studies para ma-build yung kanilang leadership skills necessary for current and future organizational needs. So, ginagamit ito in such situations such as if you are preparing leaders to manage through transitions and transformations, if you wanted to broaden the skills base of managers to handle complex and multidimensional roles, okay, and if you wanted to ensure that leadership competencies are aligned with the new strategic directions, you could use management and leadership development. Then lastly, career planning and development. So yung intervention na to will help employees plan and develop their careers within the organization. So you are also aligning yung mga individual career goals with organizational needs. So kailan ginagamit to? Kailan pwedeng gamitin? If you wanted to retain top talent by actively helping them develop their careers. If you also wanted to increase engagement by showing a clear path for growth and development, pwedeng implement itong intervention na career planning and development. Okay? Especially kapag mataas ang turnover among high potential employees, dapat ipakita mo na mayroong clear career path and development. If there is disengagement kasi walang makita na clear career progression, pwede tayong gumamit ng intervention na to. So, pwede kang mag-create ng individual development plans, career pathing workshop, mentoring and sponsorship programs. Okay? And lastly, on HRM interventions, para naman makapag-provide tayo ng health and inclusivity sa ating mga empleyado and the organization as a whole, you use diversity interventions and employee stress and wellness. Okay. So, kailan ginagamit ang managing workforce diversity intervention? kapag mayroong mga global expansion. When you are entering new markets, it's crucial to understand and integrate a diverse range of cultural perspective. Okay? Kapag meron kayong mga innovation drive, merong bagong batas on equal employment opportunity, kailangan merong workforce diversity intervention. And also, kapag merong underrepresentation of minority groups, pwedeng gamitin ang workforce diversity intervention. Kapag meron ding mga cultural misunderstanding na pwedeng makapag-lead sa conflict, yan, pwedeng gamitin ang workforce diversity. So, pwede ka mag-provide ng diversity training programs, diversity audits. Okay. Then we have employee stress and wellness. Ito naman yung mga intervention that is focused on supporting employee health and well-being through programs that address physical and psychological stressors. Okay. So, ginagamit to kapag meron kayong organization na high stress yung environment. Kapag mataas na yung mga burnout rates, okay, talagang merong employee stress wellness interventions. Kapag merong mga significant organizational changes, nag-undergo kayo ng mga mergers, acquisitions, major restructuring, stressful yan sa mga tao, you provide employee stress and wellness interventions. Okay, so yun yung ating human resource process interventions. And then lastly, we proceed to human process interventions. Okay. So this is a set of techniques and strategies to improve interactions and relationship between individuals, within groups, and among different groups within an organization. So the goal is to create a more positive and effective work environment by addressing yung mga human aspects of organizational change and development. Okay, ang focus is more on targeting the interpersonal, intergroup, and intragroup dynamics within the organization. So you will be looking into the communication patterns, conflict resolution, decision-making processes, leadership styles, and team dynamics para ma-enhance natin yung people functioning and overall well-being within the organization. So meron tayong 6 dito na intervention. Let's focus first with interpersonal and group dynamics para ma-maintain yung healthy interpersonal relationships and effective group dynamics within the organization. So we could use process consultation. This intervention enables group members to diagnose problems in their interactions and develop solutions to improve communication, resolve conflicts, and establish effective group norms. Kailan ginagamit ito? Process consultation kapag merong mga team dysfunction. When a team is not performing well because of unclear communication, unresolved conflicts, or misaligned goals, pwedeng gamitin ang process consultation. Kapag merong bagong team na na-create, process consultation can be used as an intervention. And even after a major conflict has been observed that impact group dynamic and performance, we can use process consultation. So through process consultation, we are addressing some OD issues such as dysfunctional team dynamics, lack of alignment on team objectives and roles, and poor communication practices. Okay. Then we have third-party intervention. This method involves neutral, third-party helping resolve interpersonal and group conflicts. Kung hindi na-solve using process consultation, we could use third-party intervention para ma-address yung mga disputes over work methods, personal differences, or miscommunications through structured conflict resolution techniques. So ginagamit ito kapag yung internal attempts nyo at conflict resolution nag-fail, hindi nyo na-solve, and dispute disrupts normal operations, kailangan na ng third-party intervention. And pwede rin gamitin ito kapag merong mga sensitive issues para mawala yung mga impartiality at makapag-ensure tayo ng fair resolution. And also kapag merong mga high-stake situations where the outcome of the conflict could have significant implications for the team or organization. So, kinakailangan na nating mag-third-party interventions. Okay, especially kapag yung situation is merong bias or power imbalances. Okay, dun sa conflict na yan, kinakailangan ng third party. And then we have here yung favorite natin, team building. Team building interventions are designed to enhance the effectiveness of work groups by improving their ability to work together. So, kailan ba effective na intervention ang team building? Okay. Number one, when a team's performance is not meeting expectations or has declined. So, kung mayroong performance plateaus and declines, pwedeng gamitin ang team building. Second, kapag merong changes in the team composition, when new members joining and others are leaving, that could disrupt group dynamics. So one way to enhance group dynamics is through team building intervention. Also, kapag merong periodic development, ibig sabihin niya merong ongoing effort to maintain high levels of team performance and cohesion, we have to constantly we can use team building. So, pwedeng gamitin mo dyan yung mga outdoor team building activities, skills development workshop, role-playing simulation, exercises. Okay? So, meron din tayo dito yung mga system-wide level and total organization. So, we have here organizational confrontation meeting, intergroup relations, and large group interventions. So yung organization confrontation meeting, this intervention is used to quickly mobilize members of an organization to address and solve urgent and significant problems. So typically involves a large-scale meeting where issues are openly discussed and action plans are created. So, kailan ba pwedeng gamitin itong intervention na to? Kapag meron kayong mga crisis management, if the organization faces a crisis that affects multiple parts of the organization and kailangan ng swift, coordinated action. So, we use organization confrontation meeting. And also, when you are implementing major changes that require buy-in across the organization, pwedeng gamitin ang organization confrontation meeting. Kapag merong noticeable decline in the organizational performance at kailangan nating ma-identify yung issues and solutions collaboratively, we use organization confrontation meeting. Next, we have intergroup relations. These interventions naman aim to improve cooperation and reduce conflict between different groups within the organization. Okay? So, kailan natin gagamitin yan? Kapag merong mga interdepartmental conflicts. Okay, kapag merong mga conflicts between departments or functional areas that are hindering organizational effectiveness, we could use intergroup relations. Kapag merong mga mergers and acquisitions, okay, we use intergroup relations. Kapag merong mga project implementations, na hindi lang isang department ang may project nun, tapos multiple groups ang kailangan mag-collaborate on that project, kailangan effective ang intergroup relations. Then lastly, large group interventions. These interventions involves groups of stakeholders, including employees at all levels, to discuss and develop a unified vision or address significant organizational challenges. So, kailan natin ginagamit to? Kapag merong strategic planning, when you are developing or revising the organization's strategic direction. Another situation, kung kailan pwedeng gamitin ang intervention na to, kapag merong cultural transformation. So, ibig sabihin yon, you are shifting organizational culture in alignment with your new values or operational practices. Ayan yung large group interventions. Okay? So, tapos na natin yung four major types of intervention and yung mga specific intervention under it. And lastly, we have here now the major criteria, okay, of an effective OD intervention. Okay? Number one, it must be relevant to the organization's needs. Okay? So it must be directly relevant to the needs of the organization and its members. So this involves using valid information from accurate diagnosis of the organization's functioning to inform the intervention. And dapat valid dyan, free and informed choice, and dapat merong internal commitment para maging relevant sa kanila yung intervention. Then it should be based on causal knowledge of outcomes. So effective interventions are based on solid knowledge that desired outcomes are achievable. So it must be grounded in solid understanding ng relationship between the intervention and the desired outcomes. And then lastly, dapat merong capacity building for change management. Okay? So ibig sabihin yan, yung inyong intervention, hindi lang magagamit yan dun sa current issue, but pwede rin gamitin yan yung mga natutunan nila during that intervention, yung mga experience nila during that intervention, okay, ma-build up yung kanilang skills and knowledge in change management. Okay? Para hindi lang magamit at the current, but even for future change initiatives. Yan, yung skill development. So hindi lang about learning about specific changes, but also about the process of managing change itself. So in summary, effective OD interventions are those that are well aligned with the organization's needs, based on robust causal knowledge of outcomes, and successful in transferring change management skills to organization members so that they will have a sustainable capacity for handling future changes. All right, so these are the summary. I don't need to explain this now. So, thank you for bearing with me in this discussion on OD interventions. Thank you, and God bless everyone.